3 o'clock, so I think we'll get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Lower School Reopening Webinar and Question and Answers. This is for grades 3 to 6. Thank you for joining us today. We're so glad to be together and to be able to share some special information with you. Today, joining me is our head of school, Mr. Tim Sayburn, and our new Director of Guidance, Melissa Nelson, and our Director of Communications, Megan Hodgen. We're going to share a lot of great information with you today and answer some of your questions. But before we do so, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tim Sayburn.
Thank you, Chris. I'd like to welcome everyone this afternoon to this important Zoom call webinar to find out about further detail on our reopening plans for the lower school. I'd also like to thank everyone for their feedback and their support throughout this process. Chris and Melissa and Meg Watkins and the team in the lower school have done a tremendous job planning for the return and the safe return of all our students and all of our faculty and staff. I'd also like to give a big thank you to Megan Hodgen, our Director of Communications and Marketing. This is now her fourth one of these sessions in 2 days, and she's on vacation at her parents'. So thank you, Megan, for doing that. And then finally, I'd also like to welcome Melissa Nelson. I was able to interview Melissa. We got great feedback on references, and I know Chris was able to interview Melissa too. And what you'll find in Melissa in her new role here with us is that she's very smart, but she's warm, she's empathetic, and she has common sense, all of which are great traits for anybody in a school, but certainly for the Director of Guidance. So welcome, Melissa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'd like to begin, as we always do, with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Loving God, although your ways are far above mine, sometimes I wish I could see why things happen the way they do, or the purpose that is not apparent to me. Lord Jesus, you promised a day to come of not wanting to ask anything. Help me to have faith until the time that all questions and doubts take wing. Holy Spirit, source of discernment and hope, may your wisdom come into my soul. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. I'll turn it over to Chris and Melissa and your questions.
All right, thank you so much, Tim.
You're
So as we begin our meeting today, our webinar today, I just wanted to thank you for choosing Oak Knoll. Whether you're a new family or a returning family, we're so happy that you're here with us, that you've traveled with us if you're returning through what was a difficult spring, but we really worked together through that. And we've been spending a lot of time preparing for this fall, and we're just so blessed to be out of school that has taken the time, the knowledge, and the finances, frankly, to make our school a safe place to return to for this fall, but to also be able to welcome remote learners for those who need to remote learn. We're just really lucky and blessed to be in that situation. And as I watch the news, I can see that many schools are not in that place. So I'm glad that you're a part of our community and that we're going to go through this experience joyfully together. I want to thank you for your patience as we've watched plans change over time from our government and guidance, but we're continuing to prepare, and we're very excited for our new year and reopening together. And as a faith community, I also would remind us that with God working in us, we can do infinitely more than we can ask or imagine. Ephesians 3:20. So thank you again for joining me today and for being a part of Oak Knoll. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the health and safety we've put into place, about our academics, about how we're preparing for our students' mind, body, and spirit. And at the end, we'll have some questions. If you have questions at a certain point in the presentation that you'd like to ask, please put it in the chat or the Q&A. We'll answer as many as we can at the end of the session. If we don't get to it, I'll make sure to get those and answer you personally. But again, we welcome your questions along the way. So first, let's talk a little bit, just review the health and safety protocols. I sent my welcome back letter digitally to you, I guess over a week ago now. It was quite lengthy. It had a lot of attachments and links, but some of this will be review, but just so everyone is on the same page. So we've spent quite a bit of money now preparing so that we have a safe environment for our faculty and our students. We've got, you can see on this page here, face shields and face masks and hand sanitizers and machines for hand sanitizing, touchless light switch, sinks, toilets, hand washing stations, electroshock sprayers, which will be used in the lower school for getting the playground ready between recesses. So lots and lots of PPE and preparations for making sure our environment is safe. All of our HVAC systems have been cleaned, vacuumed and washed, and we have special filters on all of those, and also a UV lighting system, which will help in killing any germs or anything that we need to make sure we're safe and breathing easily. Our bathrooms will have social distancing protocols, increased cleaning. Our hallways and stairways will be one direction in the lower school and the upper school. And we have some cute decals and markers on the floors and the hallways and stairs, so the kids will be able to remember which way to go, and they will definitely get help with that. And we'll also be preparing some little short videos that you can share with your child. You can watch together at home that will show them what will it look like to arrive to school, what will it look like when I travel in school and go to lunch and go to recess. So you can look forward to those visuals coming your way as well. We have established 5-week increments of remote session options. And so if you find yourself in a situation where it isn't in the best interest for your child to be at school in person, they have that 5-week option. And then you can continue that or jump out to that at those 5-week intervals. We have live stream cameras ready in every classroom to connect our remote learners so they won't miss a class. We have plexiglass dividers on our desks and in our cafeteria. We are streamlining the clutter in our classrooms, so we have the maximum amount of space. There is going to be a UV cleaning light at night that will go into each room, and it sends this light out and sanitizes everything that's out and in that classroom. We have bins of backup PPE for every classroom for whatever situation arises, and we have instituted a closed campus. This is difficult to decide to do that because we love, love, love welcoming you into our school, sometimes for a chat, sometimes to bring cupcakes for a birthday, and volunteering. All of those things have to kind of go on hold right now as we really limit the people that come into the school. So thank you for understanding that. So for all grades, all students will be in a homeroom cohort. So they'll come to school and they'll go to their homeroom, and that's where they'll do their learning during the day, with the exception of physical education and dance classes. So the students in their homeroom cohort will be there in their specific spots, but the teachers will come to them. We've also taken our 6-day schedule and we have reconfigured it into a Monday to Friday schedule. It is just so much easier when you're going, as we anticipate, in and out of remote learning and in-person learning, to keep track of a Monday to Friday schedule. It's easier for teachers to plan for in unit increments, and also for parents and students to keep track of things. So you'll see that when you get your schedules. We will be using outdoor spaces for as many classes as we can. And a lot of the teachers are excited. They have said, like, oh, I'm going to take my class outside as much as possible. So that's going to be exciting for the kids too. They love getting out of the classroom. And they'll also be out of their classroom for PE and for recess as well. Our interlevels will be coming to the homerooms to teach. And yes, we are disappointed that students will not be in the art studio or in the beautiful music room. But those teachers have been working all summer creating special units based on their curriculum, and they have got all their materials planned out and organized, and they'll have special places in each classroom. For example, 5th and 6th grade are going to learn how to play ukuleles the first trimester. So every student, we ordered enough so every student has their own ukulele, and we've got similar things in place for every grade. So they're still going to enjoy learning through the arts, technology, drama, all those pieces, but they'll be doing it in a new way in their own classroom just for now. I know some people have been asking, well, what is a day going to look like for my child? And I want to make sure to go over that with you. There's a lot of words on this page, but I'm just going to briefly give you an overview of what that's going to look like. Some students come at 7:30 for early care, which we will still have. And those students will get their temperature checked while they wait in their vehicle. If as long as it's under 100.4, they'll jump out of the car, mask on, and they'll go to the turf. We've decided to have socially distanced morning time on the turf if you come from 7:30 to 8. And then at 8 o'clock begins our regular drop off. At 8 to 8:20, you'll be pulling up. Again, temperatures will be read in the car, and then you'll be invited in. New this year, if you come between 8 and 8:20, you're going to go right to your homeroom. Teachers will be ready to welcome their cohort homeroom at 8 o'clock. Students will come in a staggered way as their car drops them off. They'll get unpacked, get their things put in their tote bag and their desk, and then they'll be all set for the day. Our morning announcements will happen just as they always have at 8:20 over the intercom, and by 8:30, whichever teacher they have first will be in that classroom ready to begin their day. If you do arrive after 8:20, you will have to bring your child to the front door. You'll have to have your temperature checked at the front door instead of in car line, but that's not a problem. We'll do it quickly, get your child right to class. So now they have their morning of learning. During that learning, they'll have brain breaks and hydration breaks, and they might have their snack in the morning. And then at 11 o'clock to 12, we start our 2 lunch period rotation. So one group of kids goes to recess first, and one group of kids goes to lunch. When you go to lunch, you'll be seated, at a dining hall table, which will be outfitted with what you can see on the left of this slide. So every table has an 8-compartment divider, plexiglass divider put on the table. Students will be sitting in every other seat and diagonal across the table, so that we'll have 4 kids at a time at each table. They will be sitting with their homeroom cohort. Again, just to keep us close to our cohort as much as possible. Then when it's time to switch, group number 2 will come in and sit at the opposite cubbies at each of these tables. They'll be clearly marked with lunch 1 or lunch 2, so students know to go right to the space that's theirs. Teachers will help with that, and we'll still have lunch table mix. We'll be able to mix kids up so they can sit with different people throughout the year, but that's how that will happen. We're going to have a daily menu of a hot or a cold entree, and that will be delivered to them at their seat in a disposable container. And that way we're not getting up and moving around. We're going to stay where we are, and our teachers will have a location to get their classes' lunches from. Our dining hall workers will follow the same guidelines in social distancing. We will still be able to help with any allergy meals that we need, not a problem. And just so you know, for recess time, we've expanded our recess areas. This will be the one time during the day where 2 homerooms in the same grade will come together. They'll be able to spend recess together, and that will be a grade level cohort instead of just a homeroom cohort, but we want to make sure the kids in each grade level will have a little time together. So we have some new areas. There'll be some grades might be on the tennis courts, some might be in different zoned areas on the turf. If there's room on the blacktop where the portable classrooms are not, we will be able to use that. We even have some side blacktop area in our playground. So we're going to keep our grade levels together at recess. So that'll be an important piece as well. Dismissal will begin at 2:55. Students will remain in their homerooms this year. Unfortunately, we cannot use the blacktop for dismissal because of the portable classrooms, and the patio itself would have been hard to social distance on. So instead, students will stay in their homeroom with their homeroom teacher, and other teachers will be out front. We'll dismiss our bussers with a teacher, we'll dismiss our walkers to go, and then we'll start calling families by car. As you come in, we'll radio in, it'll go over the intercom, and those family members will be already packed up, ready to go, and they'll come out and be helped to their car. We ask for your patience because we know this will take a little longer at the beginning, but we'll get the hang of it right away, and so we'll be all set. If you're going to after-school adventures, you'll be dismissed at a certain time and escorted to the dining hall. And anyone who is still in their classroom after 3:20 will be escorted to the dining hall. So you'll have to pick up any late pickups at After School Adventures as well. But that's pretty much the overview of the day for you. So in everything that we do, whether we're in person, whether we're all remote, partial remote in person, we're always going back to our mission. We're always going back to what guides us in our care and our education of our students. And so we want to have that nurturing educational environment that supports the mind, the body, and the spirit. And so we're going to touch briefly on each of those today. First, we're going to start with a really important piece, which is caring for the social and emotional health and well-being of our students. And to do that, I'm going to turn it over to our guidance and student support person, Melissa Nelson. Melissa, go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Nelson, the lower school counselor. I am thrilled to be a part of the Oak Knoll community, and I'm really looking forward to a great year. So let's get started. Today, I'd like to focus on how I will support the social and emotional health of your children, our students. Basically, I want to start at the beginning, re-entry. Many of your students, even though they're older and have more experience with the school, may still be feeling heightened anxiety or nervousness about returning to school. And you might be as well. We've all had experiences with some level of trauma since the beginning of COVID with the pandemic, and then this summer with various social injustice issues and challenges within our society, as well as the economic downturn. So a lot of us have had some really hard times. And I just want to start by normalizing people's feelings. If anybody is having a difficult time, and certainly if their child is, it's all to be expected. I like to say that there are no bad feelings. It's just the choices we make on how to deal with them. So that's what I'm here for, to help your child figure out how to navigate those feelings. So if you put yourself in your child's shoes and you talk about their experience with COVID or with all the different challenges of social distancing, personal protection, one-way hallways, it's a lot for them, right? So we're just gonna take it slow, and there are certain things that you can do and certain things that I can do that can help the whole process. So what can you guys do? First and foremost, you can check in with your kids. I know as a parent, I always get annoyed when people tell me to talk to my kids, because I'm sure you're all wonderful parents and you talk to your kids all the time, but nonetheless, I'm just going to say it. It's important to keep those conversations open. What are you thinking about school? What are you feeling? It's okay, even as an older child, to practice some first day routines. It's been a long time since they've gone back to school. So definitely practice wearing the masks, because that's going to be a challenge for all of us to wear them all day. But just getting familiar with the school. You can practice wearing the uniform or packing the backpack, and certainly getting on a good sleep schedule. All of these things will help minimize the new factors on the first day, right? Which will decrease the level of anxiety. And I recommend this whether your child is exhibiting signs of anxiety or not. If you are feeling like this is relevant to you and your child, I just recently was interviewed by Laura Perillo through the new podcast, Academically Speaking, in Oak Knoll. And it was a great conversation about navigating the trauma of re-entry and the anxiety that can come along with that. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out. It's going to be published next week, and they will send out the link to you. So there's more information there. And I also wanted to share some good news. I'm connected with a lot of school counselors nationwide, and many of the school counselors who have already returned back to school are saying that, you know, they're reporting that the kids are really excited and happy, that there's a lot of cooperation with social distancing rules and personal protection, and that overall the children are exhibiting fewer signs of anxiety than anticipated. So it's also just good to remember that, you know, Oak Knoll is a special place and your kids love it because it is so great. And so, yes, there may be anxiety, but there's also a lot of positivity and excitement, and that's good to talk about too. But with all that aside, let's get back to what I'm going to be doing since I was hired to do a job, right? You guys are going to be doing your amazing role as parents, especially on that first day, just staying calm and patient, making sure the morning is not rushed or stressed. And we will be at the school welcoming and receiving your children. If they're having any issues I'll be there to offer reassurance and nurturance. My office is a refuge, so it's open to anybody. They can come in, sit in the beanbag chair that can be sanitized, and I have all kinds of fidgets and games and distractions. Sometimes, especially with anticipatory anxiety or separation anxiety, distraction is just the way to go. You just need to sort of get the mind off of missing home, missing mom and dad and guardians, and instead, oh yeah, school, this is great. There's so many fun things. And then that's a quick fix. If there isn't a quick fix, then anxiety doesn't have a magic cure. The way I like to approach it is by listening. My goal is to listen more than talk this year, because people, whether they're young or old, all have a voice and want to be heard. So I'm going to be there to really be a proactive listener, offer my support, and of course, normalize and validate, because again, it's what we're all experiencing, and it's okay. But beyond the individual, morning support, I will be giving individual meetings. My personal goal is to meet with all of the students as soon as possible, because I want them to get to know me and feel comfortable talking to me. So to that end, I created a needs assessment survey that I'm going to give to all the students. It's going to be very basic, but it'll cover some really important topics like how they have been feeling, what are their thoughts and feelings about school, their systems of support, what's it like at home, what's your friend's situation like, do you have people that you can talk to, and what are your needs, so that I can best support the kids and meet their needs. So I'm going to have them do that, and then I'm going to meet with everybody individually to go over their answers. And this way it gives me a good idea of who needs support right away. It also gives them a chance to get to know me, and hopefully get to know me as somebody who is safe, friendly, and caring. That's my goal. So I also wanted to say that in addition to those individual meetings with all the students, I'm always available for longer individual meetings if there's an ongoing issue or something else comes up. And if that's the case, if I'm meeting ongoing with your student, I will be in touch with you, so you will know that that's happening. Regarding the SEL classroom lessons, that stands for social and emotional lessons. I'm going to be going into all the classrooms, and like Chris said, the classrooms are all a cohort, so I'll be going in about twice a month, depending on the school schedule and holidays, to teach these lessons. And I'm really excited about these lessons because they're going to be fun. I've been trying to get a lot of games and activities with social distancing involved, but ways to keep it really fun and exciting. But to talk about and develop really important fundamental skills. So social and emotional skills, I like to think of as the deeper work of figuring out, what am I feeling? How is it manifesting in my body and mind? How do I communicate that? What are my needs? That's deep work that even a lot of adults could work with, right? And then on top of that, the character trait development is how I think of it, is turning those skills into action. So figuring out, okay, how do I act as a responsible person? How do I show kindness or courage in my life? So I'm really excited about these lessons, and to make it even better, over the summer, I've been researching the top SEL curriculum programs offered, in the United States, and Character Strong came up. And it's by far and away, I think, the best program. And we're so lucky that Chris was able to help me purchase this. So we have this now, and we're going to use it. And there's so many things I love about the program. But one of the things I love the most is that it also has a family component. So there's no pressure. You don't have to. But if you want to, I'll be sending out information about each character trait that you can see listed there. That we'll be doing one a month, and we'll be doing various activities, discussions, quotes, talking about different people throughout history that have demonstrated these traits, all kinds of things. You can reinforce that at home through family challenges, family activities. So that's fun. And speaking of family involvement, I'm a big fan of collaboration. So my door, even though you can't come in right now, is always open. So virtually it's always open. You can email me, you can call me, my information's there. Anytime with anything, please don't hesitate. So I really appreciate the information that you share with me, whether it's something as simple as, so-and-so is having a tough morning. whatever happened last night, they didn't get a lot of sleep, and I can just go check in on them, make sure that things are going okay. Or maybe it's something a little bit more significant, you know, long-term, something going on with family circumstances or home dynamics. Whatever it is, I think that having that information can only help us collaborate better and better support your child. So in an effort to stay further connected beyond just email and phone, I'm creating a school counselor newsletter, and that will be, there'll be a hyperlink embedded within Mrs. Spee's parent newsletter. So you can always just click on that and check out anything in my newsletter. It will be all updates that are related to school counseling and the SEL classroom lessons that we're working on. Additionally, when the school hosts some virtual Friday assemblies for parents and students, I'll be participating in that, and that's another way that we can continue to talk about the work that I'm doing and how your kid is involved. And additionally, there'll be virtual parent coffees where I'm really excited to be able to just have time to chat with you. You can ask me any questions that are coming up. And I'll also be available at parent-teacher conferences. So my idea is just to try to be as accessible as possible, reach out anytime. If there's anything going on with your child, I'm going to be reaching out to you as well. And the last slide I wanted to say was just that I'm here for you. So I am non-judgmental, so please don't worry about that. I am friendly, so hopefully you'll learn it's not scary to reach out to me. Everything that we talk about is confidential, and I abide by that, by the law. And I just want everyone to consider me a resource. So students first and foremost, of course, but parents, guardians, teachers, and staff, everybody, like I said in the beginning, we've all been going through things. So I'm here, and I hope that you utilize me as a resource. If you ask me something and I don't know, I am willing to say, I don't know, but I'll find out. I'm pretty good at research. So thank you for listening, and I'm just really excited to be a part of the Oak Knoll family.
Thanks so much, Melissa. We're so excited for you to join us. I've had so much fun getting to know Melissa this summer, and she's had so many great ideas and is already working on a lot of different projects and things that will help with our guidance of our students and their social emotional learning. And just to springboard off of something she shared as well, I'm connected with some principals across the US, and principals in the North have been watching patiently to hear from the South. Some of the schools in the South, elementary schools and others, have opened already, and some have been open a week or two. And many of them have reported that it's been fantastic. That, you know, yes, there are protocols. Yes, there are things that we have to keep in mind as we come back. Safety is number one, but that the students are excited to be back and that school is going well. So I'm very encouraged by that and excited for our own reopening. And in addition to our social emotional health of our students, we also want to make sure that the academics in this hybrid learning year go smoothly. And we talked a lot this summer about how we make sure that whether we're some in school, some remote, or all remote, or if we're going back and forth, that we are all able to continue our academics in a fluid and positive way. And to that end, we've implemented a weekly learning template that every teacher, no matter what the subject, is going to do. And they're going to create this template, and it will look the same for every teacher. But each of them will post that to your child's Clever platform. So when they go on their iPad or their Chromebook on a Monday, they can click on each teacher and they'll see this template there. And every teacher is going to follow the same format. There'll be an overview of what this child's going to learn for the week, or if it's an interlevel because it's less frequent, what they'll learn for the month. They'll have activities and learning designated as a learn, a practice, an apply and analyze, an assess and master, or a reflection piece. So you and your student, your child, will always know, what's the point of this lesson? Oh, I'm learning something new. Oh, I'm practicing something. Oh, I'm reflecting on something. To make this a little clearer to you, I can show you on the next page the template that I created so that the teachers would have a format to use as they move forward. And so if you look to the left, you'll see that there's a picture, not a great picture, but in the template, when you click on the picture, there's a video that is a sample video overview of a week in language arts. And it's me talking to students and saying, this is what we'll learn this week. Also on the template after the video, you'll see a piece where it explains when I'm available for extra help. So every teacher will have that listed, and the Zoom link. So you'll know how they can reach the teacher and when, and whether by email or by link. Then each day of the week will be listed with what's going to be learned and what kind of learning is happening. I only went through Wednesday on this template, but on Monday, there's an introduction to a new concept. There's a link to a read aloud for the story that'll be read in class. On Tuesday, there's a virtual trip to a pet store, and there's a link for that as well. So you can see the progression of the week. What's exciting about this is that everyone will be able to see, whether they're in school or remote, what am I learning this week? Parents as well. And also, if we do happen to go to remote learning unexpectedly, the devices that your child uses will already be at home as they bring them home each night, and they can just click on their template the next morning and see what they're going to learn that day. You'll see that there is, again, a shared piece as to what they're going to learn. It outlines their homework, it outlines their resources, it includes the overview video and contact hours for extra help. So I hope that this learning template will really be useful as we enter into this sort of unpredictable year ahead. We want to make sure our students are still connecting and collaborating. I know that a lot of people have said, well, wow, what's this going to be like? How are they going to be able to do group projects or work with a partner? Well, every student's going to bring headphones to school, and every student will have a device. And not only the students in class, but the students remote learning. So when a teacher assigns a group project or a paired project, they're going to be able to log into a Google Meet and work together. My partners for my group activity might be sitting in opposite ends of the room, but once our headphones are on and we're logged in, we can start working together on this project virtually. And then that person who's remote learning will also be assigned to a group, and they'll be there too, working on together. We'll have to have guest speakers come virtually instead of in person, but another exciting piece is that we have a wealth of digital field trips. And so the teachers have been researching this summer different field trips their classes can go on without leaving their classroom. So it will be a very exciting way to connect and to collaborate as well. So when we're talking about mind, body, and spirit, we want to look at the development of the body as well. Each person has gifts and talents that enrich our community. But what does developing the body look like in a hybrid learning way? Well, one thing that's really important for the mind and the body is to make sure that we have brain and body breaks. And we will be having those in our classes. Because students aren't going to be walking to each of their classes like they normally do, this is a lot more sit time. And we want to make sure that they're going to get up and get their blood flowing, whether it's right next to their desk, whether it's going for a walk with their class around the campus for a moment, getting outside. There's going to be different kinds of brain and body breaks that the students will do. So we will have those as part of all of the grades. PE and dance classes will still be happening, and so we'll still be practicing social distancing and following state guidelines, but we'll be using outdoor spaces when the weather permits, and they'll be doing a lot of movement and skill activities as they work on their fitness and also learning different sports. Now, group sports may be a little limited during gym class. It's really going to depend on how much physical contact is involved in a group sport unit that they might have taught. But we'll be looking at that and maybe even putting in some that we haven't done before. I think right off the top of my head about tennis, and that has a great social distancing piece in it. Students will be permitted to wear their sneakers every day to school. We don't want to spend time having students changing their shoes or trying to remember which day it is and not having the right shoes when it's time to get up and go, whether they're going out for a class, going out to PE or recess. We want everyone to participate. So I'm sure your children will be thrilled to hear this, but please make sure that your children wear sneakers to school. If they don't want to, that's okay, but I know most kids would like to. The only caveat would be if we did have a special, special day, a special ceremony or service, we would ask them to wear dress shoes or non-sneaker shoes, but I don't predict that any of those will be happening in person before Christmas break, so you're all set for your sneakers. There's no color guideline, just whatever sneakers are comfy that they enjoy wearing. Part of the body piece too is hydration and nourishment. You know, we want everyone to stay focused on their learning, but we're going to need to take some breaks. Not only mind and body breaks, but we're going to need to take snack breaks, and we're going to have to take hydration breaks. So students are encouraged to bring a snack each day, and also a filled water bottle with water. You know, this is fuel for the mind, so we want to make sure that we have that. Those will be built into the day. I have read recently that a lot of people are getting headaches wearing their masks because they're not drinking as much water as they usually do. So we are going to really be focusing on making sure that the kids are getting their water breaks in as well. And last but not least is the development of our spirit and our community. Our faith and community building remain really important to us, even when we're going into this sort of hybrid learning school year. For all learners, we'll continue to have community faith gatherings. These events will be virtual, but they still are important to see each other, to learn together, to grow our faith. We're going to work on our digital or virtual assemblies and special presentations. We might have to be virtual for a little while, but we're still connected. And our remote learners, we want to make sure that they're still connected to their community too. So in addition to the other remote events that we have, we're also going to set up homeroom lunches with buddies from their homeroom so that they can dial in and not dial in, wow, I date myself. They can log in and they can have lunch with some friends now and then. Also, they'll be checked in on by Mrs. Nelson and their homeroom teachers. So we just want to make sure that they still feel really connected to their community. So that leads us to next steps, planning and pivoting. This school year is a mystery. I said that to my faculty, and I say it to you with full transparency. We've never had a situation like this in the history of what we've been doing here, and so it's all brand new. We've worked so hard to prepare all the pieces to be ready to come back for our hybrid learning. And will we have to go to remote learning? Possibly. We might get a call that the governor has decided all schools to have to be closed. If that's the case, we have our weekly learning template ready. We have our iPads and Chromebooks. Our teachers are ready. We'll just transition fluidly to the next piece. But for now, we'll be in person for the most part, and we're ready to get excited to join back together that way. What does a student need to bring to school every day? Well, they're going to need their own mask, and they're going to wear that into school, and they should have one extra one that they can keep in their bag. Every student needs a set of headphones because they're going to be working in groups and digitally. If they had any books that they took home for summer reading or they still have at home, make sure to bring those. Reusable water bottles, their snack each day. And don't forget your gym shoes or your sneakers. Your uniform, we are wearing uniforms to school. And your iPad and laptop will be given to you the first day of school. However, if you're remote learning, we'll arrange to have that before the first day of school for you. But then you'll take it home each night. And it needs to be charged for the next day of learning. So let's make sure to do that as well. So how are we getting ready for school? Well, we want to make sure we did our summer reading. If we had that assignment, any summer work packets. Don't forget to connect with your classmates. Who haven't you talked to since last spring? It's time to reconnect. Even if it's virtually, let's get together virtually or socially distanced and reconnect with classmates. Time to start thinking, where's my study space going to be? If I'm in school, I'm going to go home and I still need a place that's just mine for studying and work. If I'm a remote learner, where's going to be the best place for me to work? Get ready to watch for a letter from your homeroom teacher. She or he will be sending you a special letter in the mail. And also get ready to watch those safety videos that we'll be sending you closer to the end of this month. I want to make sure to share with you a few resources. You know, it seems like I can't read and watch enough right now for my job and my family, but just in case you're looking for more, just remember that coming back to school, we're all aware here, it's going to be different. I know how excited the kids are going to be. We have procedures and protocols in place. We are going to remind the students, but you know, they are kids. And so we are understanding and nurturing about that as well. Make sure to keep scheduling that family time together. Make sure everyone's getting good sleep as they get ready for school. The lower school community guide is going to be reissued digitally on the resource page, and it will have some new pieces in it that connect to remote learning. So make sure you do read that again. Um, we talk a lot in the lower school about the growth mindset. Just because you can't do something, it means you really just can't do it yet. And so I have a link here for you. Also a mental health link for supporting our mental health. Also resources from the American Academy of Pediatrics. This slide deck will be shared out to all families in the next week. So if you don't have time to write this down now, you will have this as a resource quite soon. And with that, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me and Melissa and Megan. I definitely am ready to answer any questions. I know Megan's been looking at the questions and she'll be giving me some to share and answer. But before we do, I do want to share with you that I'm going to start office hours each week. Right now I'm setting them up as Mondays from 9 to 10. They're virtual office hours. I should have put that in there. On my OKS, the messaging system, I am going to send you the link to this Monday's office hours. And really, this is just an hour every week where I will have a cup of coffee. I hope you bring one too. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm there. I'm just going to be there. When you get on the link, I'll be there with my cup of coffee. And you know, even if you just want to chat and talk through what this is like for you and for your family, you know, we can compare notes. It's been a whirlwind. It's been just so different for me and my family. But I'm excited to connect with you more and more as we get closer to school. Megan, are there any questions that I can answer at this time?
There are. So, okay. First one, will there be any changes to the uniform?
Okay. There aren't any changes that I can think of off the top of my head. The one thing that I have been thinking over, and I will send something out about this, is the dress uniform. Some people have asked me, do I need to buy a dress uniform if we're going to be socially distancing and not really gathering for mass and things like that in person? And I do understand that this is, you know, it's expensive to buy the extra uniform, in particular if we're not going to need it as we would have in the past for the concert and things like that, which will be virtual. If you do not choose to buy the dress uniform for the fall, just know that if we are back in person in the spring and we're getting together more, you will need it for the spring. So it's kind of up to you. As we get closer to winter and we know more about how this is transpiring, I can advise you on the winter dress uniform. But for now, other than that, everyone will be asked to wear their regular school uniform. And if you're a remote learner, you know, I would encourage you to wear your uniform as well, since your classmates will be in uniform, but that is optional.
So related to that, with masks, are there any guidelines? Do they need to be solids? Can they have words on them? And do they have to be certain colors?
Right. So the masks for the lower school, I'm not designated any special colors or any super strict guidelines. What I will say is this. In students in pre-K through 6th grade, and I think in particular, really any of the grades, I know personally I've bought about 6 masks, and I have one that I love and that I wear most of the time because it fits perfectly. With children who can be a little more picky about what they're wearing, especially with it new and having to wear it a lot, I want it to be comfortable. So it can be any color. It can be, it can have a pattern on it. What I do not want, and I would think would be best, is not to have any writing on it, and also not to have any graphics on it. I know that I've seen some masks that look like superheroes, and you know, we don't want the mask to be distracting from learning, but we do at the same time want it to be comfortable and something that your child will enjoy wearing. So if you want to wear a mask with butterflies on it, I'm okay with that. But just please use discretion as a parent when you're purchasing those for your child.
Great. And I'll give you just one more because of time. Is it car line pickup only from now on?
It is not. We do have children who will be going on the bus, and we do have parents who like to walk to pick up their children. And students are, we do have students who are walkers, and our walking permit now goes below fourth grade. If you have a child that's younger than fourth grade, but you sign off on their ability to walk home, that's okay. You can talk to Maria Beria about getting that form that you need. As far as parents picking up, the logistics of that are still being discussed, but you'll have to be socially distanced and you will have to be in one area of the pickup area. So I have to figure that out still, but no, you can walk to get them. But again, we can't congregate. So it has to be in a socially distanced way.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Well, for the questions that came in that we did not answer, we will get you answers to those though.
Yep, absolutely. I'll get a copy of the questions and I'll make sure to send out answers to everybody for those. And if you think of something later, join me on a Monday from 9 to 10 and we can answer questions then as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that this was helpful and informative. And we're so looking forward to